Welcome to Basically Sci-Fi, the short story podcast with stories you can basically call sci-fi. My name's Todd.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jared.
And this is the one I've been waiting for since we said, last time that we were going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very exciting.
Definitely at the end of my last recorded episode, I said that I was going to continue with the story after that cliffhanger.
and
nothing would get in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hanging. Because today we're doing one of them campfire style stories.
Yeah. Telephone.
If you know
We're playing
what
telephone.
I mean. It's not telephone.
No. Yeah.
But we're gonna do a little thingy thing where I have written the first part of a story that will be continued by you gentlemen.
Yes.
Sure will.
Yep.
Totally not gonna derail it.
I mean, that's what I'm saying about those campfire stories where we would sit around a campfire and tell a story, and then one person would be like, "Oh, there was a werewolf and he was chasing the guy," but then the next kid goes, "Oh, but actually that was a dream, and he woke up and he was in China." I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, man! Don't derail me like that."
So we're
the
writing
werewolf was Chinese.
Sonic the Hedgehog OCs, where everything gets
that's
replaced as soon as they think of something cooler.
That's what I've written.
Yeah.
My own original character, Starscream the Hedgehog. No, that's not what I did. We came up with a basic premise. You guys threw some words at me, and then I tried to make it into a story.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see which one of those, which of those words you decided to keep.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll find out shortly.
Yeah, we sure will.
Yeah.
All right. The little game that I'm going to play here is, do you guys remember what words you threw at me?
I remember some of them.
Yeah.
I remember saying, I don't care.
Yeah, that was helpful.
I would prefer finding out when it happens, so I can come up with something more off the cuff.
Okay.
But other than that, I think I told you, dropped some just basic trope suggestions as far as the MacGuffin or something else. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't exactly remember.
Yep, MacGuffin. That was one of the things.
Yeah, space Russians with Footloose. I remember
that.
that.
Adam said. So yeah, Jared came at me with the a MacGuffin. Use a MacGuffin. Have a 3-part story structure that starts with a win, and then a loss, and then a win. And then Adam was like, "Yeah, space Russians with Footloose, or the other way around." Okay.
You wanted some tropes. Footloose is a trope.
Footloose is a trope.
I think it's just a movie, but
I think that's why I've written Footloose the Hedgehog, my own original character. Well, I mean, I don't know what you guys would have done with it. Maybe you can tell me what you guys would have done with that information. But for now, I'm going to tell you what I did with that information. So,
I'm
y'all
looking
ready
forward to
for
all
this?
the accents. Woo!
There's to be decided yet.
Hey. Portuguese accent, if you please. Anyway.
I will do that because I know it. This story is called Existential Bread.
Alright.
That bread pudding isn't sitting well, Rufus Conway said out loud to himself as he turned on his side. He pulled his legs up to his chest and prayed it would be over soon. That's the trouble with being lactose intolerant. You can't have milk. Usually, cooked milk was okay, but if his stomach was just feeling particularly crotchety, then sometimes even cooked milk could set it off. He wondered if he should just be sitting on the toilet, but was determined that if he stayed in bed, eventually he would fall asleep, and then in the morning, his stomach would be settled. "This too shall pass," Rufus said, again out loud, and crossed his arms. He lived alone in his apartment, and the walls were thick enough that none of his neighbors, either left, right, above, or below his apartment, should notice him griping. The problem was that Rufus had only eaten bread pudding, both for dinner and dessert. Usually, he thought there would be nothing wrong with being cheap, but that evening Rufus was indeed pushing the limits of frugality. Every morning, Rufus had toast, sometimes with avocado after the weekends when he did the grocery shopping, but usually with butter. He kept the ends of each loaf frozen so that every 2 weeks or so he could make himself a lovely bread pudding. Cinnamon, sugar, eggs, vanilla, raisin, if it just wasn't for that goddamn milk. Rufus tapped his phone and checked the time. Almost 2 a.m. Doesn't really matter, but he'd been planning to get up earlier than usual to resume the job hunt. He yawned and felt a slight wave of relief as he realized he was becoming more tired than sick. Rufus heard a loud humming. He tapped his phone again. 4:30. That was actually about when he'd planned to get up, but since he'd probably only slept a couple of hours, he decided it was still too early. It wasn't likely he'd get back to sleep anytime soon with that humming sound, though. Probably the fridge, he said to himself, before he realized that the sound was coming from the window next to his bed. Through the curtain came soft, multicolored light, and then he felt a hand on his side. Turning slowly, he looked up at the figure towering over his bed. Tall, orange, naked, but seemingly genderless, or at least thankfully dickless. The intruder smiled broadly from ear to pointy ear. There was a flash of white light, and when Rufus opened his eyes again, the intruder was nowhere to be seen. He threw off his blanket, leapt out of bed, and hit the light switch. He groggily began to wander around the apartment to check if anything was missing. He stopped to consider if he had anything worth taking. The PS4 was still there. A burglar wouldn't even bother with that, he guessed. Good thing he put off getting the PS5 until he got a proper job. Thinking back on the multicolored light from before, Rufus glanced at the window. It was still dark out, and the lights were gone. I guess I really did just have a dream about aliens, he said out loud again to himself and shrugged. Trying to convince himself that he'd just been dreaming, he decided to get started with his day. There was still some lingering concern that he'd been anal probed, so he decided to take a shower and just kind of check while he was there. He couldn't really take a proper shower, though, as he hadn't turned the hot water on in his apartment yet. After living in that apartment for 5 months, he really should have turned the water on at some point, but there was a $100 charge just to turn on the hot water, and with only the money he was making at Taco Bell and everything he had to pay during the job hunt since graduation, he just didn't have $100 at any one point that wouldn't be better used elsewhere. He turned the tap and mentally prepared for the shock of cold water. But when he ran his hand under the water, it was pleasantly warm. Did dude really break into my place just to pay my water bill? Worried the water could change back to cold at any moment, Rufus showered quickly and then put on a clean t-shirt and jeans. Anus intact, but still a little stressed out, he grabbed a handful of tissues, sat down at his desk, and popped open the laptop. Before he could begin his morning exercises, there came a knock at the door. Rufus shoved the tissues in his pocket quickly and went to answer the door. As his hand touched the knob, a voice came from the other side. "Congratulations! You're employed!" Rufus called back. "Okay, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm gonna pretend not to be home, so go away." I don't want to hear about your god or your pyramid scheme or nothing. I already got a job. There was silence for a moment, but then a gentle weeping. Rufus pulled his phone from his pocket, ready to call the police about a crazy person at his door, and then peered through the peephole. You some kind of cosplayer? The hell you supposed to be? The person at the door was tall and slim, wearing white and gold robes and some kind of orange Halloween mask with big slug-like antennae and 4 round eyeballs at the top. Between gentle sobs and gasps for air, the visitor's wide mouth showed giant, flat, white teeth like a cow's. Hey man, I'm gonna call the cops if you don't go out in front of my door, like now, Rufus warned, really not wanting to get the police involved if he didn't have to. The visitor on the other side of the door spoke again. Please, great Rufus Conway, I meant no offense. I was simply excited to meet such a perfect being. And considering we are on the verge of fulfilling your great purpose, I couldn't contain my jubilation. Dude, Doja Cat, Rufus counted on his fingers as he talked. Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. Those are perfect beings. What would you want with me? We know well of your cats, horses, be they stallions or mares, and pollinating bees. But my people believe that humans are the perfect beings, with you at the apex of them all. Long have we waited for one such as you. Please, great provider, open your door that I may show you our destiny, the precipice of which lay before you. Rufus realized at this point that the crazy person at his door might get violent or maybe just louder if he didn't open up. So, he decided to call 911 and hide in his bathroom, which also had a lock. That way, if the visitor outside decided to start trying to knock down doors, he'd have to get through 2 locked doors, which might give the police enough time to arrive. When Rufus looked at his phone, however, he realized he wasn't getting any reception. Okay, I already called the cops, Rufus lied. You can still get out of this without any trouble if you just leave now, bro. This is impossible. Here, there are no police. In this perfect space and perfect time. You have yet to realize, but we have already brought you far from Earth. The apartment you are now in is an approximate replication of your Earth home, designed to aid in your acclimation to your new home. Allow me to welcome you to Super Time!
Super Time!
Rufus was taken aback. He was totally prepared for the freak outside to say that he was the second coming of Christ, or the sexiest man alive, or the sexiest coming of Christ, or whatever. But he wasn't expecting anything as lame as Super Time. The mundanity of it somehow made it more believable, and against his better judgment, he decided to just open the door. Rufus Conway, the quote-unquote alien proclaimed, spreading his arms wide. Here in Super Time, we have gathered the greatest minds, architects, engineers, craftsmen, philosophers, writers, nymphomaniacs, doctors, and veterinarians from throughout the universe and all of history to this glorious singularity of perfection that we call Super Time. So why am I here and Cardi B is not? Rufus asked, willing to play along for the time being. You really need a dentist that badly? A dentist? Our records say nothing about you working in dentistry. I got a couple of job offers. I'm working on some things. I mean, I got that one job offer, but then the dude retired, I guess, and his son took over, and before I could start work, the son was like, we don't actually need any more help at the moment. Essentially, though, I was employed as a dentist at one point. We also do not require the services of a dentist at this time. We already have in our possession the greatest dentist to ever exist in all of time and space. However, don't fret, Rufus Conway, for you are destined to play a much greater role than that of a mere dentist. My people are called the Endless Consumers, and it was we who originally seeded your planet with life. We groomed your planet to create the ideal conditions so that one day, one such as you would be born. With the right spices of poverty, war, and political strife, and the sweeteners of religious faith and unbridled capitalism, humans were bred to be a people of desperate, idealistic dreamers. These people would of course go on to bake the ultimate bread pudding, a dish born by the impoverished, longing for a taste of decadence. And you, Rufus Conway, have achieved in your time peak bread pudding. It is an honor to meet you. Fuck right off, Rufus said. He would need a few moments to process the fact that all life on Earth was born just for him to eventually make bread pudding for some aliens. However, before his mind could process what was going on, he decided to kick the alien in the nuts. He swung his foot up at the alien, but his foot merely passed through the alien's groin. The momentum caused Rufus to slip and land on his back. I don't blame you, Rufus Conway. Violence is actually the most common reaction from new employees, so this hologram was prepared to greet you. I will finish my explanation of the terms of your employment, and then leave you to begin your work. Employees of Supertime do not receive monetary compensation. From your computer, you will receive access to our endless consumer intranet. You will be given equal access to any of the resources or luxuries gathered here in Supertime. Merely place your order, and it will be delivered here to your living space. Additionally, for every 400 day-night cycles of satisfactory work, you will be awarded 1 life milestone. You will find the available milestones listed on the Endless Consumer intranet. Think of these as incentives for your continued labor. Out your apartment door, at the end of this corridor, you will find the kitchen where you will work. As the ultimate baker of bread pudding, you play a vital role in the continued success of Supertime, and are not permitted to leave. This hologram transmission will end, but know that I am personally eagerly awaiting your first batch of bread pudding. Have a fine day. With that, the alien hologram disappeared, with the stunned Rufus Conway still flat on his back. He got up, re-entered his apartment, and shut the door. He slumped into his computer desk chair and brought up the website the alien mentioned, and clicked on the link listing the life milestones. New living space, new pet, new friend, spouse, child, promotion, memory wipe. Pretty limited options, but still a greater selection than he had back home, Rufus thought to himself. He sat at his computer all day, looking over the selection of goods and services available to him. And after the light representing day outside his window had come and gone, a message was displayed on his computer screen. It read, "Satisfactory workdays completed, 0. Exhausted, Rufus went back to bed. He slept a full 8 hours, and never once woke to check his phone for the time. A gentle alarm played from his computer. Rufus rose from his bed and went to turn off the alarm. After clicking off the alarm, a pop-up was displayed that read, "Breakfast?" with a box underneath where Rufus could type. There was no menu, so Rufus just typed in whatever he felt like. And a couple minutes later, the buzzer announced a visitor at his door. Checking the peephole again, there was no one there except a cart and a silver platter with his breakfast on top. Upon seeing the platter, Rufus realized he hadn't eaten at all the day before, and was quite famished. He hurriedly took the dish inside and lifted the cloche. Inside was a gorgeous, steaming, perfectly presented Eggs Benedict. The hollandaise was a perfect balance of tangy and spicy. The last time he'd ordered quote-unquote Eggs Benedict, he'd been served a poached egg with American cheese on top, like some uncultured moron had seen a picture of Eggs Benedict, and then attempted to guess the ingredients.
That seems like a slightly specific illusion there.
That sounds like that's taken from real life.
Yeah. Satisfied with his meal, Rufus opened his apartment door again and made his way to the kitchen at the end of the hall. The kitchen was unbelievable. Everything was made of sparkling silver stainless steel. 8 ovens, 4 sinks, a countertop wide enough to place a cutting board and a coffee maker, a microwave. Bruh, Rufus said out loud to himself. This is going to be a bitch and a half to clean up. Do not worry, Rufus Conway, a voice came. We have the greatest cleaning staff in the history of the universe. Allow yourself to focus on your own work. Okay. Rufus attempted to answer the voice, but it didn't seem the voice was going to engage in conversation. He had no idea how many bread puddings he was meant to make, but figured it keeps well enough, and he really wanted one of those milestones he'd seen on the computer. So he decided to see how many puddings he could make in one day. Even with that ambitious goal, Rufus still took an hour off for lunch, where he ordered the universe's greatest Italian hoagie, and then ended his day at 5, putting in a cool 7 hours of work. He put each batch of pudding into a vacuum tube marked outgoing, where the pudding was gently lifted and flown out to be delivered. When he returned to his apartment, there was a note taped to his door. It simply read, "To whom it may concern. I was greatly pleased with your bread pudding. It invoked in me a feeling of nostalgia, and brought a tear to my eye as I thought back on my grandmother's bread pudding. That your pudding could surpass my hopes felt like I was reunited with her for a time. I hope that one day you might request a coffee of me. I hope that my own services can bring you the same level of joy that your pudding brought me. Thank you." The name at the bottom of the note was blacked out, but it was the nicest thing anyone had ever said to Rufus. After reading the letter, he made his way into his apartment and then back to his computer where a message awaited him. Satisfactory work days completed? 1. Returning to the list of goods and services on the endless consumer's intranet, he spotted a PS5 and placed his order. He also ordered a barbecue chicken pizza. The pizza arrived, as his other meals had, on a silver platter, but the PS5 arrived in a box labeled Greatest Universal Delivery Service. As he ate pizza and played his new PS5, he wondered if the one who made it was the greatest pizza maker ever, or specifically the greatest barbecue chicken pizza maker ever. Rufus stayed up a bit late playing video games, but went to bed at a reasonable hour to make sure he could get back to work at 9 in the morning. The end.
All right.
I was half expecting the system to read satisfactory work days completed 0 because he didn't finish 8 hours of work. I was sitting there waiting for that. This place is very reasonable and I like it.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. There was a lot of places we can take it.
Yeah.
However we want to. I assume Adam's going to have some space Russians show up.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going to fit in, but they'll be footloose and fancy free, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I left the potential for that.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely left a couple of open ends, a couple of things that seemed to me when I was writing them as potentially dark. You know, like you know, I left some hints in there at things where I would take the story if I was going to continue writing it, but I'm not telling you guys what to do. So, you know, if you want to expand on the endless consumers or whatever else, the milestones, all that stuff, that's all you guys now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for the life milestones. I love domestic drama.
Yeah.
In space.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, imagine that. You just put in, you know, 400 days of work or whatever, and you could just get a new apartment, or you could just get like a dog or whatever. Like,
Or like a new friend.
Or a new friend. Yeah, right? Yeah.
I really
I'm like,
dig it.
when I was writing it, I was like, you know what, I might take this deal. I don't know that I would escape from here.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be tempting to just do, like, day after day of him making bread pudding, like, completely content with making bread pudding every day, so that going home playing his PlayStation.
Yep.
Like, just have that be the entirety of me and Adam's stories.
Yeah.
It
And there's
doesn't
one
go
co-op
anywhere.
player.
It's just this Rupert the pervert's reality. Or Rufus the pervert's reality.
There's only one co-op player online, and it's the universe's greatest co-op player. And that's it. There's no battle royales, no lobbies, just one player, and you always lose to him.
Yeah. He's got the universe's greatest e-girl to call and be his teammate.
Oh god. I could see many ways where this could become very dystopian very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
When everyone is the world's greatest thing. Yeah.
But also, imagine that. Like, you're going about your life, you're trying to be a dentist or whatever, and no one appreciates shit about you. But then suddenly, they tell you you're actually the greatest to ever exist at doing something.
At doing something, yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that you brewed the best coffee in the morning?
I think I was in the story.
And in this case, it's bread pudding that presumably he'd never made for anyone else, so all he knew was that it gave him the shits.
Yeah.
Did he know he was lactose intolerant?
Yeah, he did, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
But usually it's fine.
Usually it's fun. I thought you were about to say usually it's fun.
No.
Oh, Purdue snuck into the story over here.
That was Purdue's voice. Yeah, that was Purdue's voice. I had not planned the voice before I did this, and yeah.
Possibly Purdue's origin story.
That could have easily just been Space Russian. I could have just done my sneeze Russian voice.
I know, but that means that I get to.
I guess. Sure. Do whatever you want. I'm done with it.
Like Pontius Pilate, you wash them hands. Now it's up to me. And I'm excited for next week.
Yeah.
Gotta write the story in 1 week. Because I wanted to hear it before I started writing.
Well, thank you guys for listening. I'm excited to hear what you two will do with the story, but thanks to everyone at home also for listening. And
not to spoil anything, but it's definitely gonna have Ronald Reagan.
Oh boy!
Oh yeah!
Boy. Comes to fight the communists.
All right. Yep. That'll be fine too.
Oh, it's not gonna happen. I have no desire to write about the world we currently live in.
We write escapist fantasy.
Which is... Yeah.
That is where everyone has hot water in their apartment.
All the bread pudding they want, or that Rupert can make. Rufus. God damn it, I keep calling him Rupert.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye now.